What's up, guys? It's your boy Hokage Puya here, and the UEFA Nations League has just wrapped up. That Nations League bullcrap trophy, tin pot trophy. Watch my previous video if you want. I'm not falling for the hype. The Nations League is insignificant. It's an international friendlies trophy friendly competition, Fugazi Cup. It is what it is. It's irrelevant, right? But nevertheless, Germany did play in the semifinal and the third place match of the Nations League tournament. Nations League. And they lost both games. We lost both games. And personally, for me, coming off a long season, I was not expecting much from the German team here in these two games. Yes, I said they would win and get to the final and then eventually lose to France. I know I said that, but realistically, I wasn't expecting stellar performances from the team. Now, every time Germany games come around, I'm excited to watch because I love international football. You don't get to see your national teams play all the time. So when it comes around, I get excited. But given the fact that this Germany team again was missing 6 starters and 3 or 4 key squad players, basically missing 10 to 11 big time players in this team, I wasn't expecting much. I knew that we would be playing these games against Portugal and against France, though probably the two most talent stacked squads in Europe. I knew that it was going to be tough. It was going to be tough because we just did not have the quality to maybe match up to those teams over 90 minutes. And realistically, given that context and seeing how the team performed in both games, against Portugal, we lost 2-1, but with a team made up of A and B team players, we were dominating Portugal for 60 minutes. Like, I know I'm not a stats merchant. The only stat that matters is the one at the top of your screen at the end of a match, and that is the score line. But realistically, when I was coming to these games, I want to see performance. I want to see things regardless of how many goals you score. I want to see things of how the team plays, how the team gels, the chemistry, how new players in the team look. And I was impressed with that first game against Portugal because for 60 minutes, with a team that's not really familiar with each other and nowhere near the starting 11 that the starting 11 for this Germany team that Julian Nagelsmann has been crafting for a year and a half now, they played well. They were all over a Portugal team with the likes of Bernardo Silva, Nuno Mendes, Ruben Diaz, Ronaldo, Vitinha, João Neves. They were all over them. And eventually Portugal got through. They gained momentum. They won 2-1. But I liked that. I liked to see that from the team because it shows you that Nagelsmann is on the right track. The reason I say that is because even when you're missing all these key players, and let's name them right now: Musiala, Kleindienst, who has been Germany's starting striker this last 4 or 5 games. Kleindienst, Musiala, Kai Havertz, love him or hate him, I have a love-hate relationship with him. He's a key player in this Julian Nagelsmann setup. Angelo Stiller had to pull out due to sickness before the camp. You're missing Rudiger and Schlotterbeck. That's 6 starters off the top of my mind missing from the starting 11. And then squad players, important squad players just off the top of mind as well. Jonathan Burkhardt, Bisek, Malik Chow. 3 players in the squad that aren't there. So taking that into account, even when playing an A and B team, sorry, my mind is just like disappearing into a void. I don't know what's going on. Even with an A/B team, the German team for 60 minutes was still able to go out there with Julian Nagelsmann's tactical setup and plan and execute for 60 minutes. Now, it's a different conversation that we have to talk about is the subs and basically how in the last 3 games, Julian Nagelsmann has made subs and the level of our squad, the level of our play has dropped and we've conceded goals. That's another conversation. But I'm seeing a B/A team with even some 5th and 6th string guys starting, going out there and still executing on what Julian Nagelsmann wants to be done. Now, did we win the game? No. And, in my opinion, it's the subbing issue with Nagelsmann. He against Italy a couple months ago, we're up 5-1 on aggregate pretty comfortably. We're up 3-0 in that game against Italy in Dortmund, and All of a sudden, we tie the game 3-3 because he brings on 4 guys off the bench, and the level drops, and we become complacent and allow Italy back for a draw. And all of a sudden, it's 5-4 on aggregate. You know what I mean? In the Portugal game, we're all over them for 60 minutes, and Julian Nagelsmann makes 3 substitutions, and all of a sudden, Portugal's all over us. We've lost momentum. Gosens comes in, and he's being lazy. Gnabry comes in with his fatness and is slow and trash and not impacting the game at all. So that's another conversation to be had. But I look at that Portugal game, and I already said in my post-match reaction that with the injuries we had, I was still happy with how for 60 minutes they were able to execute and dominate Portugal in basically all aspects of the game. So it is what it is. We lost that game. And against France, the first half, again, different players playing, basically an A/B team. And for the first half, we're all over France. And in the second half, it becomes a back and forth game, and we can't put the ball in the back of the net. It is what it is. But again, this is a Germany team filled with injuries, coming off the back of a long season. A lot of these players, long season, transfer talks, and everything on their minds. And it's the Nations League. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So I know Germany lose twice here. They lose to Portugal, they lose to France, but it doesn't really put any doubt in my mind. It doesn't put any doubt on my mind, because for the reasons I already stated, I don't think people should be sitting here after these 2 games and thinking, man, all of a sudden I'm not confident at the World Cup, which is a year away, and we still have to play so many World Cup qualifying games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doubting our chances at the World Cup after these 2 games. I'm not doubting if we can compete with the best of the best, because we already saw against the Spain team. I know Portugal won the Nations League, blah, 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 but they're the Euro champions. In my opinion, Spain is the best team in Europe when they're on it, when they're at 100%. And this Germany team at the Euros last year in the quarterfinal went toe-to-toe, and that was truly a 50-50 game, and they were robbed of a penalty. The Cucurella handball that, I'm not even going to talk about that, but it was a 50-50 game. In a game that mattered, in a quarterfinal of the Euros. That game could have gone either way. Because of a Nations League quarterfinal and third place match, a tin pot trophy, glorified international friendlies trophy, we lost. I'm not tripping. I'm not looking too much into it. And with the injuries we had again, this was the perfect time for Julian Nagelsmann to experiment a little, play guys that typically don't play often. What do you expect when Voltemata, a guy who's making his national team debut, is coming up against Portugal and France? I'm not expecting much. I want to see how he does, but I'm not expecting him to be a world beater. What do you expect from the likes of guys like Serge Gnabry coming back into the team and coming off the bench, having zero impact? What do you expect? Guys like Leon Goretzka starting in this national team midfield still, taking into account the injuries we had. Guys like Robin Koch in the back line. Robin Koch, he's stinky. But those are the players that are available. Julian Nagelsmann gave them chances, and he's not an idiot. He's not going to all of a sudden change the back line and the midfield to consist of Koch, Goretzka, Voltemata being a starting number 10. He's not. He's not an idiot. These are the players he had at his disposal. And I thought, although the subs were an issue again, like that Italy game, the level and the idea of the play is there. And I think with a full strength Germany team, this can be a very successful squad. And this can be a team that we could have hopes for at the World Cup next year. This is a team we could have hopes for in the World Cup next year, because you think of from the start, from the back to front, Ter Stegen in goal. You got Rudiger, Schlotterbeck, Tah fighting for center back starting positions. You have Joshua Kimmich at right back. Again, we know he just cannot put a foot wrong at right back. He's so good there. You have healthy competition at left back for this Germany team with David Raum and Maximilian Mittelstadt. In midfield, you have Angelo Stiller. You have Pavlovic, 2 young guns coming up with experience now in the squad as well to back him up. Pascal Gross, Goretzka, unfortunately, Robert Andrich. Then in attack, you have Musiala, Wirtz, and Havertz. At striker, you have 4 guys competing for the striker position. 5 guys, really. Undav, Burkhardt, Voltemade now, Kleindienst, Fulkrug, 5 guys, healthy competition in the striker position, lots to choose from. Guys, squad players for in center back as well. You have Bisek and Chow in Serie A. After Musiala and Wirtz, you have Adeyemi, Leroy Sané, and these guys, Chris Führich as well. I think the team is good. And I think Nagelsmann is on the right track. Because they lose twice here, I'm not overreacting. I'm not acting like it's the end of the world. I'm trusting Nagelsmann because what he's done in the last year and a half is fantastic. Let's not forget, guys, 2.5 years ago, the German public didn't really care for this team. They didn't really identify with this team. But after a somewhat successful Euros at home, there's a lot of hype, and the German public realizes that, man, we got superstars. We have Musiala, we have Wirtz, we have a Stiller, we have Joshua Kimmich, who's the best right back in the world in my opinion. So we have got center backs who play at center back who plays at Real Madrid. Like, this is no bum Germany team. This is no bum Germany team, and he did a good job of reminding the German public last summer that this is a team that can compete. They just need the right ideas and the right environment to do so, and I think Nagelsmann is building that. So don't panic. I'm definitely not panicked. And yes, we're a year out from the World Cup, and I don't know when the next games for Germany will be against high-class opposition. We'll try to probably get some strong friendlies in before the World Cup next year, but we have a bunch of World Cup qualification games to get our starting 11 out there in each game, have them grow some chemistry, and be prepared for June of next year, and so that we don't embarrass ourselves for the 3rd World Cup in a row, which I'm telling you right now, we will not embarrass ourselves again at the World Cup. But we don't want to just be a round of 16 team quarterfinal team. The goal for this team should be semifinals, at least the semifinals. That's a realistic goal. And because these 2 losses, I'm not falling into these reactionary conversations about, oh, well, this Germany team, the quality isn't there. Sometimes I think people lack a brain. They see these 2 games against Portugal and France, and they're like, where did all the German talent go? Where's the quality? Oh my God, Germany has fallen off a cliff. Well, I'm sorry. Did you not realize that 4 to 5 of our squad players are missing? And did you not realize that 6 of our starters are missing? So what did you expect when 10 key players are missing from the squad? You know what I mean? What do you expect when 10 key players are missing from the team? Like, it's so stupid. Like, obviously, this is a weaker Germany team because 10 guys are missing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course it's going to be weaker. Now, I'm not going to fall into those stupid conversations and thoughts because this team at full strength can compete with France, can compete with Portugal, can compete with Spain, and they can compete with those South American teams, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Paraguay, who is very good. I'm not sleeping on Paraguay. So I'm calm. Nagelsmann knows what he's doing, and he'll take a lot of information from these 2 games. Again, he's giving chances to guys like Gnabry and Goretzka, and they're just unimpressive. Maybe he brings Goretzka back, but let's stop with Gnabry. Let's bring younger wingers in, at least to have the squad role. He brought back players this international window that were phased out a little bit. He gave them more chances, and they just aren't delivering still. So I'm sure Nagelsmann will cut out the dead weight soon and only call up the kids and the players that deserve it the most. And I'm excited to see, the World Cup qualifiers will be a good opportunity to slowly and gradually build up to where every game Germany is playing before the World Cup is played by their strongest 11 so that the team can build chemistry, they get comfortable with each other, and they're ready to fight out the World Cup and make a run, make at least the semifinals. So I'm calm, I'm not overreacting, and I'm not brainless. We were missing so many key players in these 2 games. So congrats to Portugal for winning the Fugazi Tin Pot Cup. And yeah, I'm not really like losing sleep over Germany not getting the 3rd bronze at the Nations League. The Nations League. Come on, man. Anyway, guys, it's been your boy Hokage. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.